Good evening. Coming up in Mello TV Evening News tonight, bodies of mother and her young daughter discovered following a fire in St. Anne. University of the West Indies student charged for allegedly torturing his ex-girlfriend appeared in court today. And the police kept busy over the weekend with murders in Westmoreland and St. James. And now the news in detail. 20-year-old University of the West Indies student Matthew Hyde, who is of a Braemar Avenue, Kingston address, who is charged with assault occasioning grievous bodily harm, appeared in the St. Andrew Parish Court earlier today. Reports are that between Monday, February 6 and Thursday, February 9, Hyde allegedly held his ex-girlfriend against her will for 3 days, where he reportedly beat her and burned her with a clothes iron all over her body on the campus of the University of the West Indies, Mona, where they are both said to be students. A report was subsequently made to the police following the woman's rescue, and Hyde was arrested and charged. And Mello TV will bring you more on this developing story in subsequent newscasts. And Mello TV has been advised of some breaking news this evening. Our news center is being informed that a police constable was shot and killed in Seaford, St. Thomas. He has been identified as Mark Anthony Forsyth. Mello TV understands that the policeman was pronounced dead at hospital. And we will bring you more on this latest police killing in subsequent newscasts. 3 separate murders that occurred in Westmoreland and St. James between Friday and Sunday are the subject of an investigation, according to the Area 1 Police in Montego Bay, St. James. The deceased have been identified as 27-year-old Christopher Mowat, also known as Chris, a shop owner from Church Hill in Flankers, St. James. 25-year-old Steve Henry, also known as Zeeks, a construction worker from Fisherman's Lane in Hendon, Norwood, St. James, and 34-year-old Damien Thompson, also known as Dakasa, from Gordon District in White House, Westmoreland. According to reports from the Coral Gardens Police, Christopher Mowat was among a group of people at a store on Church Hill Avenue on Sunday at 7:40 p.m. when they were ambushed by a lone gunman who opened fire, striking Mowat and another man before escaping in a waiting car. The police were called, and when they arrived, they found Mowat and another man suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. They were taken to hospital immediately, where Mowat was later pronounced dead and the other man was admitted in critical condition. In the other incidents, the Barnett Street Police in St. James report that Damien Thompson was shot dead around 10 p.m. on Saturday while he was sitting with a group of people in Gordon District, White House, Westmoreland, and Steve Henry was shot and killed around 3 a.m. on Friday along St. James Street in downtown Montego Bay. 28-year-old Dennis Mundell received a discretionary sentence that infuriated hundreds of individuals on social media, which led to harsh criticism of the judicial system due to a blunder. Dennis Mundell, the first person to receive a sentence under the new Firearms Prohibition Act, should have been charged under Section 5 of the law rather than Section 45, according to Director of Public Prosecutions Paula Llewellyn. This indicates that rather than being in possession of an unlawful firearm, Mundell was accused and convicted for possession of a legal firearm that belonged to someone else. DBP Llewellyn also stated that after conducting a review, the necessary corrections, if any, or re-indictments will be taken. Therefore, any trials or plea negotiations involving illegal possession will be put on hold this week. Prior to a seminar on the legislation, Ms. Llewellyn said that her office will meet with the police high command and that there has to be a public awareness campaign for the bill. Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson reported that 7 people have been charged under the new law. A fire ravaged a 2-story residence in Cardiff Hall near Runaway Bay in St. Anne on Sunday, resulting in the bodies of a mother and her young daughter being discovered following cooling down operations. The deceased are 26-year-old Shellyan Hamilton and her daughter, 6-year-old Gabrielle Lambert. The incident is being handled as a fire and death investigation, according to Superintendent Dwight Powell, the commanding officer for Sinai.
There was a house fire at Cardiff Hall, Runaway Bay Fire, where 2 persons perished. The deceased are Shelley-Ann Hamilton, 26 years old, and her daughter Gabrielle Lambert, 6 years old. We understand that in the latter part of January this year, Ms. Hamilton rented the apartment. She left to the corporate area and returned this morning. Shortly after her arrival, smoke and fire was subsequently seen coming from her apartment. Attempt was made by citizens to extinguish the blaze, which proved futile. The fire department and the police was subsequently summoned, and on arrival on the location, the charred remains of Miss Hamilton and her daughter was found in the apartment. We are presently treating this matter as a fire and a death investigation. We are awaiting the results of the forensic examination in this matter and further probe which will be carried out. Of course, we are asking those who may have information as it relates to this incident to please speak with us so that we can put the puzzle together.
Another person has been charged in connection with the multi-million-dollar fraud case at Sagicor. On Thursday, February 9, 26-year-old Tishan Samuels, a client care officer at Sagicor, was arrested and charged for fraud squad detectives for the offenses of larceny as a servant, conspiracy to defraud, and access with the intent to commit or facilitate the commissioning of an offense. Reports are that between July and August of 2022, Samuels allegedly conspired with others to defraud the bank of just over 65 million Jamaican dollars. She was offered bail with surety in the sum of $1 million. And Mello TV will continue to track this story and bring you more updates as they become available. Another group of public sector workers took industrial action over aspects of the government's public sector compensation reform. The employees at the Registrar General's Department, the RGD, have taken strike action, arguing that the change in their salary scales they believed would have benefited them is now seen as, quote, unfair treatment, end quote. Officials from the Jamaica Civil Service Association, the JCSA, says the association has informed the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service that in order to expedite the end of the negotiations, they would be encouraging their members at the Registrar General's Department to, quote, stand down on any industrial action. Talks with the ministry were said to have taken place over the weekend. Earlier this month, employees at the Jamaica Information Service, the JIS, had a sick-out to voice their concerns over the government's compensation offer. In a press briefing on Friday, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Colonel Charles Jr., clarified concerns regarding the modernization of the agricultural sector, Grow Smart, Eat Smart program, and performance for 2021-2022.
This program was proposed to establish a viable, modern, and sustainable agricultural sector. It will do so by developing value chains and market linkages and was designed to increase agricultural productivity in rural and vulnerable communities. By stimulating entrepreneurship and employment, promoting import substitution, and generating foreign exchange earnings through export opportunities. Essentially, the ministry aimed to establish a program that would facilitate improvements in our production, our food safety, technology, and capacity building. One that would help us to expand domestic and international market access for Jamaican products. Now, it is to be noted and understood, the program was not at a cost of $150 million. That was simply the cost relating to the project startup. It would have been based on a loan of $25 million to be executed over a 5-year period.
The public is being advised that in order to facilitate the opening of Parliament on Tuesday, February 14, several roads in the corporate area will be closed to pedestrian and vehicular traffic beginning at 8 a.m. The closures are as follows. Duke Street. No vehicular traffic will be allowed on Duke Street between Sutton Street and North Street. Charles Street. No vehicular traffic will be allowed on Charles Street between Hanover Street and King Street. Beeston Street. No vehicular traffic will be allowed on Beeston Street between King Street and Hanover Street. Mark Lane. Mark Lane will be operated as a one-way south to north between Beeston Street and Charles Street. Vehicles with George William Gordon House stickers will be allowed access to these areas. JUTC buses, which normally travel along Duke Street from East Queen Street to Hero Circle, will be diverted as follows. West along East Street to East Parade, South Parade, West Parade, North Parade. North along Church Street, East along North Street, North along Central Avenue, North along East Hero Circle, and then back onto the original route. Traffic personnel will be deployed along the roadways, and members of the public are being advised to follow their instructions. And those are the stories making the news this evening. Thank you for tuning in to Mello TV Evening News. I'm Nicole Hales. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.